Welcome back to the Online Darts Live League for Thursday evening in Group B. And that was some start from Daryl Pilgrim, wasn't it? He sent a message to the rest of the field. We'll see two more players making their debut here in Group B. Kevin Payne has been with us for the last couple of days, but it's our first look in this phase of Matt Dennant. Welcome back to the Scholar from the West Midlands. And he's up against someone who doesn't live that far away from him, actually. Maybe less than 45 minutes. Throwing an 18-gram dart. Always has thrown a very light dart. As Kevin Painter.
Game on.
Two very likeable chaps will now duke it out over 7 potential legs to win 2 valuable points in this truncated format.
100.
Group B. Over the course of this week, Painter has shown some really good stuff.
93.
And he has played Matt here 3 times before. Unfortunately for him,
77.
he has lost on 2 occasions. He'll be looking to level things up in this first game of their evening.
58.
But Kevin did really well to get himself into Group B in the end. In that mad group that we had on Tuesday and Wednesday. At 1 point,
100.
We had 1 person on 10 points and 5 players on 8 points. It was the tightest and most
60.
exciting Group A that I've ever seen. In the end, Kevin finished up on 10 points and finished in 3rd position behind
54.
Matt Jackson and Josh Payne. But if he finishes in the top 3 again in this group, he'll be safe for Saturday night. And a crack at that £2,000 bonus and the Champions Week spot.
170.
Where's he going to go? Is he going to go for the ball? You betcha! What a start from Dennant. Oh boy, that deserves a fist bump.
Second leg Kevin to throw first.
Some people I have seen more than ever have chosen to lay up in those spots and say to their opponent, whether they're
40.
on a finish or not, I don't think you're going to hit this. I'm going to lay up and lay down the gauntlet. But Matt Dennant is made of very confident stuff in 2022.
93.
Just looking back at his live league career,
36.
He's played 152 games, and before that leg, his best finish was 164. New personal best.
60.
And he joins Lee Cox and Daryl Pilgrim from this group in hitting a 170 in their live league careers.
78.
In those 152 matches, he's averaged 88.73, which is very competent. 33% on doubles, which again is very good.
55.
A win percentage of 52.63. Now, there is a caveat to that. This year, his win percentage is over
100.
60%. He's playing better this year than last year. I've covered quite a lot of Matt's matches. And what he's doing this year is he's hitting doubles
57.
earlier. He's getting rid of matches earlier. He definitely let too many matches
99.
slip in 2021. And after that ruthless start, he doesn't want to let this one slip as well.
60. Kevin Rukar, 148.
Leg number 2 should be going the way of the artist when he's got 6 from here.
100.
That'll do, as long as he converts that 48 next time round.
$100. Kevin Rukar, 48.
This week he's been leaving tops a lot. And he does so once again.
Game shot on the
very good
second
from
leg.
Painter.
Kevin Painter.
That's what he's been doing for many, many years. Around 16 to 17 years where he steps away, looks at the target and gets it done.
Like Matt to throw first. Game on.
Just when you think that Rob Cross at the top of the game is the only person who steps away most of the times on shots like that. Painter pretty much invented that. Kevin's weak, 89.06 for a running average.
100.
14 maximums, which is a good haul. Averaging 7 per day. He had the most ton plus
60.
checkouts of any player coming into this day. And he had the biggest checkout of the week until a certain Matt Dennant hit a 170 in leg 1. And that was a 150, which he completed on double 15.
57.
He's been involved in some tussles this week. You could say that coming into this Group B action, he's been battle-hardened.
85.
Now, Dennant's going to have to go north here. The 19s was the wrong play. But
139.
that was superbly thought out. When you've got a nickname like the Scholar, you tend to get everything thinking-wise right.
100. Matt Urucar 124.
Matt should be able to take advantage of the lack of timing on Kevin's throw that he's shown over the last couple of visits. Painter does have
84.
the opportunity to
Kevin
steal
Urucar
this third leg against the throw.
116.
Lovely dart. Beautiful single.
76.
But it's not a
Matt
7th
Urucar 40.
ton plus out as of yet for the week.
No score. Kevin
But
Urucar
that's what Dennant
40.
has not been doing recently. I'm pretty sure that Painter thought that he was going 2-1 down.
Game shot on the third
What
leg.
is happening
Kevin Painter.
is Painter going 2-1 up. He has withstood that little bit of a tsunami of brilliance from the leg that we started this
Kevin
game
to
on.
throw first.
It's now
Game on.
advantage Painter. And whenever Matt gets
100.
frustrated, he retreats to the back of the room and he looks at the wall. Just tries to compose himself for a few seconds. He's one of the smartest dart players out there. And if he does get frustrated, he finds himself a little bubble.
135.
I would assess their performance
78.
whenever they've come here as quite equal, actually. They both have personal best averages,
100.
just a shade over 100. And 1. In fact, Painter has improved his this year to around about 103.
96.
Very similar running averages, same sort of doubles percentage. And the likelihood of them coming through this group is
134.
very good. Daryl Pilgrim will be the favourite for this group. And I believe he's going to come through it.
100. Matt Urucar 132.
I think there's going to be a feeding frenzy for the other two spots. Bullseye for another perler.
107.
Very nearly
Kevin
finds it.
Urucar 127.
For the 127 in game. If he gets it, Hinksy, call it. I dare you.
111.
If you don't know what that's all
Matt
about,
Urucar
there's
25.
a very famous YouTube sketch of Paul Hinks saying 127 in game with Phil Taylor versus Michael Van Gerwen. You have to see it. Double 4.
21. Kevin Urucar 16.
Chances missed in this one from Dennant. It's now 5 missed darts at double, which have cost him 2 legs. In a game where he could be 3-1 up, he should now be 3-1 down.
Game shot on the fourth leg, Kevin Painter.
He is 3-1 down. Kevin, I said it would be a feeding frenzy for the scraps, and the scraps have been taken by the man in the multicoloured shirt.
First. Game on.
It has been a very, very hot day here in the United Kingdom.
140.
We have done everything in our power to try and keep this room as comfortable for the players as possible.
60.
But there are no windows in this room, and it will feel very stuffy in there this evening. The players understand that,
180.
and they're going to have to make the most of it. Painter comes back and answers the max. Back in the leg, but still 80 adrift. And that gap is widening.
93.
The only chance Painter's got now of winning 4-1 is putting in something huge here and hoping that Matt misses.
140. Matt, you require 80.
That's what he can do. He now needs an error. 7-7.
Game shot
No
on the
error
fifth
here.
leg, Matt Dennant.
Beautiful 12 darter from Matt Dennant. His best leg of this match so far. And very good to keep himself in with a chance of winning it.
Throw first. Game
2
on.
more to go if you're a Matt Dennant fan.
115.
This has been a very good game. Averages are very similar. Around about 0.2 of a single point between them.
53.
I did say they were very evenly matched, these two. They are proving it.
121.
One thing Kevin is doing tonight is throwing those darts with some venom.
100.
He's one of the hardest chuckers out there. Just look at the ferocity of this delivery.
45.
He will not be happy with that. And he's not going to be happy with this either.
140.
Dennant is firmly back in this leg.
$60.
Not only back in it, he could be favourite for it in a second.
92. Kevin Rukar 160.
This is to win it with a bang. Great second dart.
140.
And the third is not bad either.
Rukar 116.
To stay in this match, he's going to need errors from Painter on double 10.
60. Kevin Rukar
Kevin's
20.
been excellent on his finishing so far. 3 hits from 6. Double 5.
10.
Just a bit
Matt,
defensive on that third shot. Double top. And Dennant is level.
Matt Dennant.
He needed mistakes from Painter to stay in this match. The mistakes have been made, and Dennant is now favourite for the
Seventh
match.
and final leg, Matt to throw first.
And the head shake from Painter. I didn't think he was going to miss that double 10.
Game on.
I think he looked very likely for that 4-2 win. But if he walks away with no points from this match, it could be very infectious to his
97.
thought processes going into his next game, which is in match number 5 against Lee Cox.
180.
Oh, fair play to Kevin, though, using all of his experience to start off with a max. However,
180.
second time in this game, we've seen somebody back up a maximum. Kevin did it to Matt earlier, and Matt's just done it to Kevin.
60.
And he's in again. And again. When Kevin looks up, he's going to hate what he sees. Just look at his expression. He wanted to look up and see that Matt had hit a 5 and a 1. And what he saw was the stuff of nightmares. He's not out of it yet.
140.
He leaves a 1-2-1.
Matt, you require 84.
Double 12. Double 6.
72.
He's now missed
Kevin,
2 match starts himself.
121.
Kevin's missed 3. Does he get another? No.
97.
He leaves double
Matt,
12.
12.
Double 6 to win the match 4-3. Oh, it's a wicked deflection.
No score. Kevin, you require 24.
This is a gift. Painter should have won it. Then Dennant should have won it. Now Painter can re-win it. This game has been weird.
12.
It gets even
Matt,
weirder.
12.
Just when you think you've got this game figured out, you see something like this. And I think Kevin and his stance against that table tells you the full story.
Game shot.
And Dennant does win it eventually. I think there will be a somewhat light handshake there. It was a very strange contest. Ultimately, when you look at the numbers, it was a very good game. But the doubles percentages plummeted. But we can't forget that 170 that we saw in the first leg of the match. That was astounding from Matt Dennant, and he walks away with the 2 points as well. The only person we haven't seen so far tonight is Lee Cox. He's going to be bringing his immaculate haircut and his black and yellow shirt back to the hockey when we come back after this short break. Welcome back to our coverage of the Online Darts Live League for Thursday evening. And without further ado, let's get down to the board for game number 3, which includes Lee Cox for the very first time tonight. He's up against Matt Jackson, who was on the end of a hiding in game number 1 from Daryl Pilgrim. But back comes Lee, the London County team captain. Perfectly embossed in black and yellow. But the man from Bristol, who has had a very decent debut week, needs to respond after losing 4-0
First leg is Lee to throw first. Game on.
This will be a first meeting with Lee Cox here. And the first thing I've noticed as a change
45.
from Lee Cox from the last time that I saw him play is that he's using shorter stems and a green flight. You may not think that's a big deal.
29.
But for someone who wears a lot of black and yellow, why didn't he get yellow flights?
45.
And in fact, this is a change of style of flight as well. He's used to using the foldable stuff that you can see on the end of Matt's darts.
91.
But he's now gone for the moulded stuff, which is preset. You may not think it's a big deal having a slightly shorter stem
93.
or a slightly different weighted flight, but believe me, at this level, it makes a big difference.
43.
Lee Cox's live league career has taken him through 118 games
180.
and plenty of maximums, that's for sure.
'81. Lee to car 138.
He's looking to go 3, 1, 8 and 6. He doesn't quite get there.
79.
That was Lee Cox's 121st maximum in his live league career.
59.
Just
Lee
want to say
car
a bit of a shout out to Matt Dennant in the previous match. He got himself over 200.
Game shot
That's
on
a
the first
beautiful
leg.
first leg from Lee Cox. He started very slowly in that leg, but after that maximum, he was fantastic. 17 darts to complete that first leg.
Second leg, Matt to throw first. Game on.
Lee with a running average of 85.4 in those 118 games.
60.
Funnily enough, this year he's played 28 games with a better running average of 87. So you could say
45.
he's in winning or better form, but his win percentage is a good 10% down on last year, which means he's playing better
60.
but still being beaten a bit more often. One of the reasons for that is that his doubles percentage is down to 30%.
180.
He's hitting Matt Jackson hard here at the start of this match.
100.
Maybe Lee's been hanging out with Daryl Pilgrim, having a practice in the practice room.
100.
If he has, it's been working. They don't live that far apart, actually. Crawley and Croydon are separated by about 25
40.
miles, if that, by the M23 motorway in South London. Look at this for a display.
127.
Well, if you are going to miss a single, that is the right time to do it. It never pleases a dart player when it happens. But if it is going to happen, do it when your opponent's on 2-4-1.
100. Lee require 49.
Single 17. Found. Double
Game
16.
shot on the second leg. Lee
Found.
Cox.
97 average so far for 2-0. And 100% on doubles. So far, so good.
Third leg, Lee to throw first. Game on.
And a couple of maximums to boot.
96.
I'm starting to see why he's changed those stems in flight. They're working. It's not often you see 30 difference in the averages.
97.
Earlier on today, I was talking to our colleagues at Sporty Stuff TV about some picks for this evening. And this is one of the games that
100.
I earmarked. I thought there would be 6 or 7 legs in this contest. Now, I've got
123.
no crystal ball when it comes to these matches. I just assess the forms and the stats. I thought this would be very close.
26.
It's still got time to change. Just remember, if you are choosing to have a little flutter on something tonight, whether it's a result, the winner of the group, or maybe a combination, please gamble responsibly. It's for over 18s only, and begambleaware.org for more information.
125. Matthew Ricard, 150.
This was the biggest finish of the week until Matt Dennant got a 170.
120.
And that was a fine try
Lee Ricard, 154. $98.
With his
Matthew
dart
Ricard,
flight,
30.
he might have to be quite cagey with the first shot. Double 4.
22. Lee Ricard,
3
56.
missed shots to win this leg to get himself back in the match. Now it's double 4 for Lee. Whether that was part of the plan, it doesn't really matter anymore, because he's taken the leg anyway. And he still has not missed a double in this match. Whatever he leaves, he's hitting it.
Fourth leg Matt to throw first. Game on.
You do not want to be someone who is
180.
drilled 4-0 twice in your first 2 games in this group. Matt Jackson, fair play to him with his first maximum.
99.
Gets started in leg number 4 perfectly. I remember a night last year where
44.
Aaron Monk played on Thursday and Friday, and he did not get 1 win over the couple of days. Nothing went his way, but everything seems to be going Lee's way.
100.
If he completes the 222 and 6, he's going to get a win of 4 legs to 0 to start his evening.
58.
But in order to do that, he's going to need to find a 164, which would be one of his biggest
95.
finishes
$164.
in his live league career. It would be his biggest of this year.
$56. Matt, you
Can
require
Matt Jackson
82.
get off the mark and get his first leg of the night? Perfect first start.
Game
And he
shot on
finds
the
an
fourth
82
leg.
check
Matt
out. Fair
Jackson.
play to Matt Jackson, who's been hit really, really hard so far tonight. And now that he's got that first double in the bank,
Fifth leg lead to
anything
throw
is possible.
first. Game on.
it
95.
doesn't matter whether you're an elite player, number 1 in the world, someone playing at the live league, or someone who plays locally. When you get a bullseye in a double
38.
16 for an 82, it feels good. Hitting any double feels good.
59.
But there are certain shots out there that make you feel even better. Things like a 170 out. A 132 is a particular favourite of a lot of players.
59.
And 82 as well. It's particularly satisfying. Is it a 4th max?
121.
Another satisfying thing is double-double, which we saw
100.
from Conan Whitehead twice earlier on this morning. He took out a 134 with 2 double tops and a 100 checkout with 2 double tops.
59.
And he had a pretty good day. He wound up on 6 points After 5 matches, he's very much in the fray tomorrow for the top 2 spots in Group C.
44, leader car 167.
Time on his side to get the 4-1 win.
He's 57.
He's not going to be best pleased with that leave. Got to go bull. That is really well done for Matt Jackson. He could have easily not thought that one out. And he's going to get a look at the 160 now.
21.
Lee
Might
is
you require
faltering
160.
as he inches closer to that finishing line. This 89 should have been a lot smaller.
60. Lee, you require 89.
Just remember, he hasn't missed a double yet.
64.
He has now.
Might you require 100.
Remember what I said about double-double. He doesn't need that. He needs double 19.
62. Lee, you require
Too defensive.
25.
And Lee is finally looking at the outer ring for the match.
Game shot in the
And
match.
the outer
Lee
ring is
Cox.
only missed once in this match by Lee Cox. A very good performance to get himself a decent lead of 3 legs in that contest. The average came down by a good 9 points in the last couple of legs, but he doesn't care about that. 67% on the doubles. That's what counts. And the fact that he got 4 in the bank. 3 games down, and we will go to game number 4 when we return. And the second time, we will get a look at Matt Dennant up against Daryl Pilgrim, who in his first game was excellent. That's coming right up after this. Welcome back to this evening's Group B action. We've had a bit of turmoil so far tonight for the likes of Matt Jackson and Kevin Painter. But for our next two players, everything seems to be rosy. But only one of them can double down and get to 4 points after this. This one could be the best game of the night. 34-year-old from South Croydon, just north of where Lee Cox is from. But the West Midlands is where this man calls home. 30 years of age, the scholar now.
First leg is Daryl to throw
for
first.
someone to maybe come into their prime. This was another one of those games this evening that I picked a certain thing to happen. My first pick did not come in, so
100.
Don't believe everything you hear. But in this one, I fancied 3 or more maximums in it. So let's see if it pans out, shall we? That aside, this could be a very good match where we see 2 of the favourites to come through this group.
96.
Pilgrim was excellent in beating Matt Jackson 4-0 in game 1. There was no look of surprise on anybody's face here when that happened. And that's no disrespect to Matt Jackson at all. It's because we really do rate this guy.
91.
But then again, we've rated Matt Dennant for years. I still think his best darts are ahead of him.
59.
One of the biggest compliments I can pay to Matt is that I would liken him
134.
to a former Lakeside finalist called Richie Davies. Small in stature, very friendly, super smart, and not bad when he's got a projectile in his hand.
100. Daryl 80.
That's who he reminds me of. The lad from Wales they used to call Lamb Chop. True story. Double top.
60. Matt
Those last 2 darts were a bit
120.
bewildering. Vastly under-delivered. And Dennant show him the way.
Game shot on the first leg. Matt
What a beautiful shot there from Matt. And he's getting a bit of a habit tonight of starting matches with ton plus checkouts. 170 earlier. Now it's 120.
Second leg Matt to throw first. Game on.
That's the perfect first start for him. He can really attack this now.
140.
And even when he gets a 140, he is disappointed. I'm not at all
47.
sure which football team, if any, Matt Dennant supports. I always like to know what sports they're into.
30.
And what teams they follow. It just sparks up a decent conversation. We all know that Daryl Pilgrim is a
100.
very avid Crystal Palace fan. You can tell from the colours on his shirt and his flights and stems. Kevin Painter is a big Ipswich Town fan.
140.
One thing Daryl needs to do is pepper that 60 now.
180.
And we get our first maximum of the match right there. That was very much needed. He's scratching his head in the background as if to
95.
say, where have you been?
$44. Might
Unfortunately,
require
the backup
96.
shot is not as good. And Dennant can double his lead. Beautiful dart. And the double 9 was just as good.
Matt Dennant.
He is playing very well tonight. That is a 96 checkout. And he's completed those first 2 legs in 30 darts.
Daryl to throw first. Game on.
There's the proof of it. 100.2 is exactly 15 darts per leg.
134.
For a lot of our regular viewers on Sporty Stuff TV, I'm sure you already knew that. But if you are tuning in for the very first time, thank you for your company. It is very welcomed.
45.
Don't forget that we do have a double session tomorrow on Friday as well, as per usual. We'll have the climax of Group C from 9:30 a.m.
60.
And then we'll be back for Friday night action to seal up all of the invitations for Saturday's finals in Week 2 of Phase 4.
99.
I may even let the cat out of the bag tomorrow a little bit early as to who's playing next week.
115.
You might be really interested to see some of those names. It depends how generous I'm feeling in 24 hours.
135.
I'm not used to having this kind of power.
134.
Lovely switch there from Daryl. He desperately needs to get a lug on the board in this match. He's got to stay there.
58. Daryl Pilgrim,
19 left to finish. 20s and 17s didn't, and neither did 18s. Double 10.
48.
Nothing seems to be going as right in this
164.
game for Daryl. The timing seems to be off.
104.
You better get rid of this now because Matt Dennant's in position to steal it away from him if he misses. That's really awkward. But that's a lovely dart.
Daryl Pilgrim.
As soon as you saw that second dart hitting the black sisal above that double 5, it flattened out. I thought it was awkward, but not awkward enough.
First. Game on.
It's conceivable if he'd missed that double 5, he was going to be 3-0 down. I've noticed something about Daryl as well.
140.
He's quite a quiet character. He likes to just get on with his own stuff. But if you look at him from his left-hand side, he's got all of his hair shaved.
140.
And then on the other side, everything's combed over. It's almost Harvey Dent-like.
44.
If you don't know what I mean, Harvey Dent in DC Comics and movies was called Harvey Two-Face. He used to have no hair on one side
140.
and perfect hair on the other. By no means am I calling Daryl Pilgrim
44.
a bad guy. But he might have to grit his teeth to get through this one. And he's starting to make inroads
91.
on the Matt Dennant throw.
$101.
Good stuff from Matt, but it is 6 darts from here for Daryl.
130. $48.
Oh, that's a bit slack. Matt will see that as an invitation to potentially steal this leg away if he slips one more time in his 5th visit.
82. Daryl Pilgrim, 82.
Key exchange. Now, because of that bounce out, he had to go 42.
62.
That would have been a fantastic
Matt, you
save.
require 90.
This will be catastrophic for Pilgrim. And the
Game
bull has
shot on the
found
fourth leg. Matt Dennant.
second bullseye checkout of the night for Matt Dennant. The first one was a maximum checkout of 170. This one
Fifth leg,
is its
Daryl
little
to throw
cousin.
first. Game on.
Nothing in those averages really. Less than a point.
140.
But the timing of Dennant's shots have been awful. for the man from South Croydon. Matt has a lot of fans from where he's from. They're extremely proud of him, as they
42.
should be. If some of those fans are watching this evening, please feel free to get in touch with us at Darts Live League on Twitter. We do have other social channels as well. And you can tag me in those tweets at the Asset 180. I'll be happy to give you guys a shout out.
100.
And Gary Dennant, funnily enough, in the last few seconds, has tweeted me saying that Matt is a Man United fan. Just when I thought you were a nice guy, Matt. I'm only kidding.
140.
I do still like Matt Dennant. I don't like Man
81.
United. I grew up in a household full of Man United fans, and I was a Newcastle fan. Go figure.
41.
That's the 19 taken away.
99.
bit
That'll
more as
require
well.
40.
Daryl, don't miss this. He's already taken a 120 on you.
Game shot on the
Well
fifth
done.
leg. Daryl Pilgrim.
Great leg. But now comes the really hard bit. He has to break Matt Dennant in the next leg, otherwise he's toast.
Sixth leg Matt to throw first. Game on. $83.
My pick for there being 3 or more 180s in this game is not looking so good. There's only been 1 from Pilgrim in this match so far.
60.
Not to say that it's been a bad match. It's been very good. The Pilgrim averaged 94.5. There is a maximum for Dennant, which takes his average close to 96.
$85.
Pilgrim is in big trouble. But he's not in as much trouble as Matt Jackson, who's lost
45.
heavily in his first 2 games. It's going to be a battle of the impeccable haircuts next after this in Game 5. Painter against Lee
58.
Cox. 2 very similar characters.
$93.
And this one is getting away from Pilgrim fast. A lot of people might see this as a small upset based on form.
100. Matt Urucar, 100.
And Dennant is doing this against the darts as well. Very smart. He was
60.
not going tops there. That was 2 singles to leave tops for next time. He doesn't make tactical errors.
98. Matt Urucar, 40.
Double top for a very good win. To be the first person to 4 points in this table. And halfway to the perfect night.
Game shot on the
Very
match.
good
Matt
indeed.
Dennant.
His doubling was exceptional in that game, and it may have been the biggest separating factor. 120 in the first leg was his best checkout, but 80% for the whole match. That's where Pilgrim lost it, because there was nothing in the averages, and you saw that Pilgrim did have 8 shots himself, just didn't take enough of those for himself. We are going to take a short break now, but when we come back, it will be the battle of the impeccable hairdos between Painter and Lee Cox. That's coming up in about 2 to 3 minutes. Welcome back, darts fans, and we have another match for you coming right up, and it will signal the end of the first half of our schedule in Group B, and in the words of Tiesto, let's get down to business. Great start for Lee Cox earlier on tonight. A really good win against Matt Jackson by 4 legs to 1. The stats in that game did not tell the full story. But the story of the first game for Painter was one of frustration. Could have, should have won that match, but didn't.
First leg is Kevin to throw first.
People in life and in sport by how they bounce back from things that don't go their way. So, over to you, Kev.
85.
Who has decided to change his darts coming into this game. He's gone for the more grippy version of his 18 grammars. He's got 2 different
60.
sets in that case. One with a smooth barrel, and they just have cylindrical rings on them. This one has cylindrical rings and some overbearing knurling on top. Judging by his first 6 darts, good choice,
96.
Kev. He's never been someone to throw a dart with a lot of grip.
85.
But believe me, these darts have got a lot of grip.
$100.
I
Kevin
would
Ricard,
classify these two as very, very similar type players. They throw the darts very differently, in fact. Kevin throws them very hard.
91.
Lee feathers them through the air. Look at this follow through. A lovely, smooth arm towards the board.
140. Kevin Ricard,
As for Painter,
60.
whack. Proper ferocity.
20.
And if he loses this leg,
105.
he's going to think he's cursed. But he might. Double 16. Oh, he has lost the leg.
Lee Cox.
Oh boy. What more can Kevin Painter handle? He has already been hit with a 7-leg thriller against Matt Dennant, and it starts again right
Lee
here.
to throw first. Game on.
Matt Dennant started with a 170 checkout against Painter in the previous game. Now it's a 105.
140.
Is it going to be one of those Terry Jenkins style nights where everybody plays their best against
58.
the artist? These nighttime groups sometimes can be relentless.
100.
We don't select bad players here. We try and get the best players that we can possibly find. Lee Cox has got a very high level of performance in him. He's averaged as high as 104.15
81.
this year. He does have a bit of redemption in his mind, though.
140.
Lee's best effort in a certain week was back in 2021, where he was 4th in week 2 of phase 4.
Will you require 121?
That was on the Saturday night. That's his best effort and his only visit to Saturday night. He doesn't need to go for it, and he doesn't.
89.
A couple of phases after that visit to Saturday night,
140.
he was cruelly denied a Group C win. That may still be on his mind. Getting closer.
16. Kevin
Close
Yurokar,
enough.
126.
Painter's not going to get him back, and he leaves 105 with 2 darts, which is quite ironic, considering that's what Lee hit in leg 1.
58. Lee Yurokar, 16.
To double the lead. It's double 8.
No score. Kevin, you
He
require
has missed
68.
6 darts for this leg. Now it has to be 11 bull. That's a costly 7. But it's only costly if he misses the next 2 darts. And he's missed a single.
21. Lee, you require 16.
That was a close call. I actually thought that was a foul dart from Painter.
Game
He
shown
has
the
lost the
second
leg.
leg. Lee Cox.
And Kevin Painter has got a lot on his mind at a 2-0 down. And that visit could signal a real confidence boost for Lee Cox.
Third leg, Kevin, to throw first. Game on.
The reason I say that is from a dart player's perspective. When I see somebody doing that and starting to show negativity,
97.
I think to myself, I've got you exactly where I want you. This is where Cox has got to be unsympathetic. He's got to put his foot down and twist it.
$137.
That's much better. It just goes to show, doesn't it? The higher average, he's got a 180, Lee hasn't.
60.
It's all well and good having good stats, but if you're losing 2-0, they count for nothing. This is what I educate young players these days who are obsessed with averages. Drives me mad. They're just a guide.
100.
Would you rather have a bad average and win,
132.
or a good average and lose?
$92.
Beautiful lead from Painter. This is a great response after that bad end to leg 2.
$35. Kevin, you require 40.
That's the white flag raised for this leg. And that is the end of leg 3, which was thoroughly deserved by Painter in 14 darts. I wonder what's going to happen next, though, as we go into the second half of this game.
Fourth leg lead to throw first. Game on.
I was having a very interesting conversation with our
100
live league viewers earlier on today during Group C about darts shoes. There are no darts shoes on the market that are specifically for playing this sport, which I
81.
think is a shame. But if you look at someone who is classified as a bit more old school in Kevin, he always has and always will wear a very
57.
nice, smart pair of shoes when he plays. He prides himself on always looking impeccable, and I love that about him.
68.
But you're never going to see Kevin Painter play darts in a pair of trainers. Or even something a little less formal.
100.
This is how he does his business. He told me once he doesn't like dart shoes that grip the carpet.
140.
He likes them to have a leather bottom so that if his feet need to move, they can. That's a little window
100.
into how precise he is about his game. And it's one of the reasons why he's been so successful over the last 25 years.
135. Leader car 144.
This would be a killer blow. But it is a leg he was expected to win, having thrown first
100.
15
Kevin, you
darts
require
ago.
77.
Single 18 for Tops. Tops has been good to him so far.
57. Leader car 44.
It isn't this time. Double 16.
Game
It's in the
shown
bottom
fourth
corner,
leg, Lee Cox.
and a 3-1 lead is opened up for Lee Cox, who is trying to do what Matt Dennant is doing right now in staying undefeated.
Fifth leg, Kevin to throw first. Game on. 93.
My picks for the night are not doing so well. In this game, I went for Painter to have the highest checkout. The reason I picked that
95.
one is because he had the highest checkout coming into this whole day. That's now been beaten. But he also had one of the biggest checkout percentages of anybody. The game isn't over though. And he may need a big out to win one of
60.
the 3 legs that he needs to get a result here.
$97.
Lovely switch there from Lee, which gets him about half a dart ahead. And once again, those averages are lying to us.
74.
84 is enough for Lee to win this game as long as he times one more shot right.
40.
But you have to say he made a big tactical error there. With his opponent slightly ahead, he should have gone 19s first on 309.
140.
3 darts in a perfect line there for Kevin. Give him possibly 6 darts from 134 to stay alive.
95.
That's exactly
Kevin
what he
Newcastle,
has.
134.
We saw 134 earlier on from Conan Whitehead.
98.
One of the best finishes of the entire week.
$60. Kevin Newcastle, 36.
To get 1 of 3 he needs.
Game shot on the 5th
Very
leg.
good.
Kevin Painter.
And the doubles percentage for Kevin goes up from 20% in 1 dart to 33%. So 2 a hit from a possible 6.
6 leg lead to throw first. Game on.
I build this game as a battle of the impeccable hairdos.
140.
Just look at those bonnets. Not one hair out of place. Now, I've seen Lee Cox at darts
100.
in multiple venues. I've seen him in an airport when I didn't even realise I was going to bump into him. I've never seen him with a hair out of place.
100.
That's what you call pride in your appearance, you see.
45.
That's a somewhat ironic nod of the head there from Kevin. That's one of the things that makes him so watchable. Even when he's not playing well, you're still intrigued as to what's coming.
60.
Now, the scoring of Lee Cox has fallen off a cliff over the last couple of legs.
40.
But he's incredibly fortunate that Kevin has lost his way in this leg alone. He may well have 9 darts from this position.
140.
May only need 5.
$100.
And if
Lead
Kevin is to
requires
get through this
61.
group, he's going to have to get really, really deep. In digging deep. Because
Game
he's
shot of the
now
match, Lee
lost
Cox.
2 straight. And Lee Cox has won 2 straight. This is an impeccable finish here. He had 9 darts minimum to get rid of that leg. It did only take him 5 in the end. But there you see, 86 average, 3 below his opponent. It mattered not. And that 105 checkout was the best. So another one of my picks goes by the wayside. Lee Cox won't care about that. But we have reached the halfway point of our night tonight. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, it's time for round 2 as we go into match number 6. Contrasting fortunes for our next two players who will grace the hockey. Matt Dennant has everything going his way, but Matt Jackson so far tonight has had nothing go his way. What's going to happen in their third match of 4 for this evening? There you see the table for the very first time, and you see two players who are undefeated. Matt Dennant has got 2 matches left tonight, and prospectively, he could face Lee Cox in his final match of the night to remain Mr. Perfect. That will be Lee's next match as he takes a couple of games off. But as for Matt Jackson, he's got to play against Dennant and Painter to try and get some points on the board before we finish for Thursday evening, stroke Friday morning. It's not that he's played poorly. It's just that his opponents have played better than him, and that's the name of the game. Dennant has been really good. He was somewhat fortunate to beat Kevin Painter.
First leg is Matt Jackson to throw first. Game on.
But it is a battle of the mats. And this is the kind of game that any referee dreads, because they have to full name the players.
44.
Whenever they have to start a leg, it's Matt to throw first, but this time it's full names to throw first. Referees have a very difficult job, and the likes of Owen Binks and Paul Hinks, who we've had this week here, deserve a lot of credit for what they do. Indeed, any referee, whether they work for the World Darts Federation, the Online
91.
Darts Live League, the PDC, or on other shores, everybody who puts their hand up to do that job has got my vote. That gets my vote, that visit. Beautifully done.
$60.
Advantage Jackson, the man they call Action.
81.
Is it Action or is it The Action? There's too many dart players' nicknames out there starting with a the.
138. Might require 96.
He's had a 96 earlier
56. Might require
in the
72.
week. In fact, it still remains his best finish of this week. What can Matt do with double 16?
56. Might
Narrowly
require
missed.
40.
And Jackson hasn't had 2 bites at a cherry too often this evening so far.
35.
That's
Might
been going
require
wrong.
16.
We'll delve into that in the next leg.
12.
And I'm surprised
Might
that Matt has
require
missed that with
5.
3 darts. We could talk about Matt Jackson's finishing in the next leg after he's taken this first leg.
Game shot on the first
And if
leg.
there is
Matt
one
Jackson.
double that he's been hitting with more regularity than any other this week, it's been double 2. I make it 3 hits from 3.
Second leg, Matt Dennant to throw first.
I may well
Game
be
on.
forgetting some other shots he had at double 2. But I can remember at least 3 times where he's hit it first time and in that very same spot.
60.
But so far tonight, he only got 1 shot at a double against Daryl Pilgrim. He had plenty in his next match against Lee Cox.
140.
He only hit 1 from a possible 6. That isn't good enough, unfortunately.
100.
You must be raising your level to at least 35% to have any sort of chance in this company.
83.
He would take any win at this stage just to get himself on the
41.
points board. But he's not alone. Kevin Painter has not won his first 2 games either. And that table that we saw at the start of this match is very
134.
fair, because everybody's played 2 matches now. Nobody has a game in hand.
85. Matthew Ricard, 144.
Look who's made the better start in this match. Jackson may be starting to get his act together.
96.
He's not going to go for the 19s. He's going to go for the maximum, and I don't blame him.
48.
Jacko for tops.
Game shot on the
Jacko
second
gets
leg,
tops.
Matt Jackson.
That's one of his best legs of the week. 15 darter there for a 2-0 lead. And if you thought Matt Dennant was going to have it all easy in this one, you were wrong.
Third leg, Matt Jackson to throw first. Game on.
This is why darts is so unpredictable. Dennant, who was undefeated after 2 matches, is playing against a player who's won 1 leg in 2 games. Next thing you know, Jackson's 2-0 up. Trying to predict darts matches.
58.
It's not a science.
$85.
I made a point earlier this week about the throw of the action. I've not seen a throw like that since I was a kid.
140.
And I likened it to the late, great Leighton Rees with that curved right wrist.
140.
He plays in a very similar way to Leighton Rees, but he plays a lot faster than Leighton did. He was a bit more deliberate.
133. Matthew Ricard, 136.
For a 3-0 lead. This game is motoring along.
60. Matthew Ricard, 170.
Why not get a second one?
$58.
Not
Matthew
able to
Ricard,
make
76.
a big indentation in this one. So Jackson has fluffed his lines there. 2 big singles would have given him a shot at a double
36.
for a
Matthew
3-0
Ricard,
lead, but he couldn't find those
112.
2 singles. He's going to stay on the 60, or the 54 is calling, which would have left double 19.
80. Matthew Ricard, 40.
It's
Game shot on the
3-0.
third leg, Matt Jackson.
I did not see this coming. I'm not going to lie. I thought Matt Dennant was a huge favourite in this match. He is very much the
Fourth leg,
underdog
Matt
now.
Dennant to throw first. Game on.
Oh, how things can change. And Jackson does not give a lot away. I've watched
100.
him play 12 matches so far this week. He has given 0 information to his opponents
57.
on this hockey. Some players give you an indication of how they're feeling.
93.
It's pretty easy to find out how Kevin Painter's feeling. He wears his heart on his sleeve. Lee Cox is a little bit the same, maybe not as severe.
134.
But Jacko and Dennant are very placid out there. They just get on with it. They try not to show their hand.
98.
I'm calling him Jacko, by the way. I don't know if he likes it, but I heard Colin Osborne call him Jacko earlier in the week, so I'm adopting it. There's no better way of finishing any match or any leg, in my opinion, than a 170. He's just working out his maths here. Like I said earlier, he does not make tactical errors. And he hasn't made one there.
119. Matthew Ricard, 170.
That is
130. Matthew
a
Ricard,
flawless
91.
approach. 86 remain. And Matt Jackson is 1 dart away
43.
from bagling Matt
Ricard,
Dennant.
40. Game
What
shot
a
on the
performance
match,
that
Matt
is.
Jackson.
Where has that come from? He was bageled in match number 1, and he's just returned the favour to the person that was at the top of the table. A remarkable display, 50% on the checkouts. That's what the improvement was. Really clinical there, but the scoring was excellent, just short of a 94. We will take a few short moments to get our breath back after that. And I think Matt Dennant might need a break as well before he plays his final game of the night. But well done, Matt Jackson. You're back in the mix. Daryl Pilgrim is up against Kevin Painter right now. This is really interesting because Painter has been levelled so far. He needs to respond the same way that Jacko has. and welcome back to our Group B action here this evening. Daryl Pilgrim did have a stutter in his second match, and Kevin Painter has done nothing but stutter, unfortunately, so far this evening, but now is a great time to bounce back. He hasn't had much of a break since that 4-2 loss to Lee Cox, thanks to Matt Jackson being rather incredible against Matt Dennant with that 4-0 victory. And Painter now sits at the bottom of the table on 0 points, but one win here against Pilgrim in third. And he's very much back in the running.
First leg is Daryl to throw first. Game on.
In footballing terms, this is Crystal Palace versus Ipswich Town. That would mean that Daryl Pilgrim is a heavy favourite. No
84.
Disrespect to Ipswich Town fans. But Kevin has gone back to the smoother barrel.
121.
In fact, hold on a second. If my eyes don't deceive me, is he throwing odd darts?
93.
I'm intrigued. Smooth barrel. Smooth barrel.
58.
Rough barrel. Now, did he start with odd darts earlier tonight? Or is he just trying something out?
180.
I don't mean to ignore that maximum for Daryl Pilgrim, but this is something I've never seen before.
125.
Someone using
Daryl Pilgrim,
2 darts
144.
and an odd one. Maybe only Laura Turner, one of the best female players in the world. But that wasn't by design.
96.
Not even Peter Wright has used odd darts. There you see, that
100.
second dart is
Daryl
different to
Pilgrim,
the others.
48.
In the words of Sheldon Cooper and Captain Spock, fascinating.
Game shot
That's a
on the
great
first
shot.
leg. Daryl Pilgrim.
Daryl Pilgrim takes the lead by 1-0, and he looked very comfortable in that first leg, which is a very bad sign for KP.
Second leg, Kevin to throw first. Game on.
In his first 3 games tonight, Painter has not won the first leg.
125.
Admittedly, in the first 2 games, he lost the first leg with ton plus checkouts. Daryl started his night brilliantly against Jackson with a 4-0 win. Stumbled somewhat against Dennant.
135.
And even though he averaged 93, which is very good, it didn't look that good. Maybe because he was only 25% on his doubles.
96.
But he does have a great chin. He can take things and put things right for the next match. He's been brilliant at group play here this year. And he hasn't had many games where things have gone wrong. But when they have, he's responded brilliantly.
98. Kevin Ricard, 101.
Speaking of responding brilliantly, that's what this is.
45.
Another reason, potentially, for odd darts is that something might have happened to the other barrel. He may have damaged one, and it may not be
98.
usable.
Kevin Ricard, 56.
Double top for a 1-1 scoreline.
Game
Look
shot
of
on the second leg.
disdain on his
Kevin
face
Painter.
at that miss at tops, and he gives it a little bit of an evil look as well. How dare that dartboard reject my shot? Well, double 10 was not rejecting it at all.
Game on.
So far, so good from both players.
96.
Just a reminder that all of our players this week are from England. A somewhat rare occurrence.
140.
Something that we saw a lot during the pandemic, when we were only allowed to get players from a certain circumference. But we are looking to get more international players. We have seen players from France, from Japan, from Canada, the Netherlands, Belgium.
100.
Not to mention Scotland, Wales, Ireland and Northern Ireland. And we have had Danny Lowby from the United States as well at the back end of last year. We are delving into our contact sheet to see who we can get for your darting entertainment over the next few months.
$60. Daryl 138.
This one is following a pattern of the person throwing first is likely to win the leg. That's bad news for Kevin.
58. $95.
Great last start.
Daryl, you require 80.
Stay in with a shout if one error is made.
$60.
And there is that error that he needed.
106.
He's averaging exactly 100 to this point. He can still take this out. He can no longer.
42. Daryl 20.
Double 10 for a 2-1 lead.
Game
And the
shot
halfway point is
leg.
found for
Pilgrim.
Daryl Pilgrim with a very tidy looking 16 darter. He is still the favourite for this match, having retained his throw in leg 3.
Fourth leg, Kevin to throw first. Game on.
As for what will make you safe in the top 3 in this group,
55.
come 24 hours from now, or maybe even 25 hours, that is ripe for speculation. There have been times where 6 points is enough. I could easily sit here and say that 8 points will get you there.
100.
But maybe that wouldn't be the case. We only have one undefeated player left in this group, and that's Lee Cox. He plays Dennant next.
140.
And Lee's got 2 matches to go. He also has to face Pilgrim in game 10 for the night.
140.
Now, there's a lot of dart fans out there who have been watching a bit of PDC World Cup this evening and have joined us a little bit later. We thank you for your company.
92.
But I'm imploring all of you darts fans out there to get in touch with me and let me know if you know of anybody who has thrown an odd dart on a regular
100.
basis. Who was it? I want to know. I'm intrigued by this, what Kevin is doing. I know that when Peter Manley was
99.
using
Kevin
short, stumpy darts about
106.
20 years ago, I think one of them, or even 2 of them, were different weights. But they were still of the same design. This is a great design.
90. Daryl 124.
It will be very typical of Kevin's evening if this is found. Bull.
99.
Very
Kevin
fine effort.
16.
There's one thing happening now for Kevin. He's speeding up.
No score. Daryl 25.
Nothing seems to be going right for him. Hence the languid walk to the back of the room. 2 4s. And Pilgrim finds his way to 3-1. I reiterate what I just said. Nothing is going right for Kevin Painter.
Fifth leg, Daryl to throw first. Game on.
That is not the face of sympathy
81.
from Daryl. Is it another change of equipment coming in? Because Kevin is up to something at the back of the room. What will he deliver this time?
60.
There you see, he was trying something. There were 3 smooth barrels. Make of that what you will.
96.
A lot of people will think that doing this kind of tinkering
140.
is a sign of desperation. I don't think that's the case. If you want to try something, this is possibly the best venue for that.
46.
It's all well and good trying something in practice, but things will behave differently under pressure in these scenarios.
60.
You need to learn how these things happen and how they react when you're in a game situation.
$94.
I may find that out when I return to competitive action myself a little bit later this year. I'm slated to play in the Live League in September. Let's hope that can still happen. I did, of course, play in the Live League in 2020 behind closed doors.
133.
I haven't played in this room yet. It's going to be one nervy little week for me, but I am very much looking forward to it. Kevin can do nothing about this game from this position. Pilgrim is on the
85.
cusp of
Daryl
victory
51.
to repair his leg difference after his second game loss. Double 16. He did everything right.
Daryl Pilgrim.
It was a very steady performance, an average of just over 92. But Kevin, who was tinkering in this game, trying different things, nothing seemed to go right for him. Even though his 89 average was pretty decent, nothing seems to be going his way, unfortunately. But you look at the 5 missed darts at double, they really were costly. And 50% once again gets a winning scoreline, just like it did for Jacko in the previous match. Let's see if Lee Cox can remain undefeated. In Game 8, he will take on Matt Dennant, who was the first person to close out their night. He's coming next. Hello and welcome back, and good morning if you are tuning in through Sporty Stuff TV in the UK. As we pass the midnight hour, we are now looking to see how Matt Dennant will finish up his campaign for the night, as he is the first person to complete his 4 matches. He's up against Lee Cox, who is the only person who has 2 matches left, and he sits at 2nd position. So he still has the possibility of walking away from Thursday night stroke Friday morning.
First leg is Matt to throw first. Game on.
One thing that does stand in Lee's favour before he starts this contest
140
is that he has played Matt Dennant twice here at the Live League, and he's beaten him twice.
180.
And I would classify that as a pretty good start.
$100.
Having said that, the 2 meetings that they have had were in the very first phase of 2021.
85.
That was around about 16 months ago. So we can't really read much into that.
97.
Having said that, Lee averaged 92.49 and 98.18 in those 2 commanding victories. When you play certain people, you like the pace of the game, you feel comfortable, and maybe he does when he plays Matt Dennant.
98.
He's the one who had the maximum, but he hasn't backed it up brilliantly with other darts in this leg.
7.
And that
Matt
evens things
66.
out. Single 9. Double 16.
Game shot on the
That
first
is the first leg for
Dennant.
Matt in 15 darts. So he's sending a bit of a message to his opponent saying, I want to walk away from tonight with 6 points.
Second leg lead to throw first. Game on.
Matt will have been somewhat shell-shocked after winning his
60.
first 2 games of the night to then be bageled by the then pointless Matt Jackson. Just a little indication
45.
as to how unpredictable this sport can be.
$54.
These guys will not have any plans for Saturday night.
100.
They'll be trying to book their place here. They do not want to be in any other place than the Live League come Saturday night. £375 is guaranteed for the players who make Saturday night. But if you're 4th,
35.
you'll get £500 and no spot in Champions Week. If you come 3rd, £750. But if you make the final, not only are you
93.
guaranteed that spot in Champions Week, but you are guaranteed £1,000. And if you win the lot, you can double that.
58.
Let's not forget as well, there is a small matter of a Champions Week 9-dart bonus. It has not been cashed so far this year.
93.
And in Phase 4, come the 5th of July, that bonus is now up to £2,000 for 1 leg of darts.
140. Michael Carr 170.
It was a little bit too much to ask for a second
105.
170
Leo
of the
Carr
night, but he's had
154.
at least 3 looks at that shot tonight already.
58. Michael Carr 65.
He's looking at the treble 19 there to lead double 4.
Game shot on the
And he has
second leg.
taken that
Matt
first
Dennant.
leg somewhat unconventionally. He caught me out of sight because I was looking at the 25 for tops. He thought better. He was the one who got the leg. Well done, Matt.
Third leg, Matt to throw first. Game on.
Lee hasn't got out of the blocks yet, and he has been made to pay by some very tidy stuff from Dennant,
180.
who's got a look in his eye, as if to say, I will not be denied 3 wins from 4 this evening.
100.
I've never had the privilege of playing
59.
Matt, or indeed Lee Cox. Of all of the players here this evening, there's only one person I have played, and that's Kevin Painter, in many a different arena.
60.
Never a dull moment, that's for sure. But has darts
81.
ever been in a more bright spot? And I'm not just talking about the elite as well. I'm talking about the Live League. I'm talking about the WDF. There have never been
55.
so many opportunities for the second tier dart player. Look at the likes of Stephen Burton, Jim McEwen, even Neil Duff,
96.
the man who won the WDF World Championship recently. The opportunities are unbelievable. To get titles
100. Might
To
you
get
require
experience.
85.
and to get some money as well. Ooh, nice shot.
69.
He's feeling a bit frisky as we go into the early hours. He's going all the courageous ways.
60. Might you require 16.
It continues for Lee that nothing is being found.
Game shot on the
But
third leg.
plenty
Matt
is
Dennant.
being found by Dennant. He's maintaining a 92 average throughout this contest. And if he keeps going this way, there's only one leg left.
Fourth leg leader throw first. Game on. $100.
There was a possibility, of course, that this game could have been a battle of the undefeated players. The person who spoiled that was Matt Jackson. There is a second maximum for Dennant. He's now leading that stat. And he is now in a king of the hockey position.
120.
If you've backed king of the hockey in this game for Dennant, I need to borrow your crystal ball,
99.
because I would have left that one alone. If you want to where king of the hockey is most 180s, win the match, and to have the highest finish
36.
all in the same game. Matt is checking all of those boxes bar one right now, and the only one missing is winning the match.
$39.
We are seeing a fair few dart collisions. When you see a dart on the floor, it's not because of the board. More often than not these days, it's because the dart clatters into another one and
96.
stops it from penetrating the sisal.
$100. Leader car 149.
This is to save the match. Oh, yeah.
170.
Great attempt.
Might you require 83.
But that could be the last dart he throws. Double 16 for Dennant.
Game shot on the match.
Wowzers.
Matt Dennant.
What a way to finish your campaign for Thursday night and Friday morning. 95.43. That 14 darter to finish things off was absolutely sensational. 80% on the checkouts, and he will be a force to be reckoned with when we come back at 10 o'clock later tonight. He's going to start on 6 points on Friday night. Lee Cox could still get there, but he's going to have to wait until match 10 Before that, we're going to have Matt Jackson up against Kevin Painter to see how they will finish their evening. That's coming right up after this. Welcome back to our coverage of Group B in the early hours of Friday morning. And this will be the last game of the morning for Matt Jackson and Kevin Painter. So let's get down to the hockey. There are possibilities in this game for both players. Kevin Painter, with one win, can still qualify later tonight. But if he loses this game, he will be staring down a gap of 4 points from the basement of the table. But if Jackson can win his final game of the night, he will firmly be in contention. At 4 points, he would be guaranteed to be only 2 points behind the leader. Lee Cox and Daryl Pilgrim will bring our coverage to a close in match number 10.
First leg, it's Kevin to throw first. Game on.
But before we go there, let's find out where Kevin Painter stands.
100.
It's been a long, arduous night for Kevin. It's been tricky. But when you look at what he's been doing,
140.
statistically, it doesn't look that bad. In fact, he's been very consistent. Averages of 90,
135.
89, and 89 again. On a lot of nights, that would see you picking up 3 victories.
140.
But you have to think that losing to Matt Dennant in match number 2, where he squandered
96.
a multitude of match darts, it seems to have had an effect on the rest of the night for him.
57.
He's got only
Kevin
one more
Newcar,
chance to put it right.
170. 130. Matt Newcar, 164.
He's not going to have his heart broken this time.
58.
Now, can
Kevin
he
Newcar,
win the first
40.
leg of a contest for the first time tonight?
Game shot on
Yay,
the first leg.
there you
Kevin
go.
Painter.
That may have a very good effect on Kevin's game tonight, because 3 times out of 3 before that, he'd lost the first leg of the contest.
Second leg, Matt to throw first. Game on.
And that was a 13 darter as well. Maybe the shackles are off.
41. 140.
Just want to say a very big good luck to all of the players and all of the staff going to the Six Nations up in Scotland
100.
this weekend. People representing their countries and trying to win with
60.
their nation's shirt on. That will be a rather spectacular event. And good luck to all of the players involved. Some of our live league
84.
favourites are making their way to Scotland, including Scott Williams, who has been traversing the darting divide over the course of the last 5
60.
months. Not that there's as much of a divide as there used to be. Everybody seems to get along famously.
100.
And isn't that the way it should be? There's enough division in the world. Tremendous from Painter,
180.
who is playing like he refuses to go to bed. Pointless.
100. Kevin Newcar, 61.
25.
Game
36.
shot on the second leg. Kevin
Equals
Painter.
61. And so far, this is 111 average. I'll take your
Third
running
leg,
90
Kevin to
average
throw
for the
first.
night
Game on.
and do something very much better. There you go.
54.
But there you see how much it plummets with one bad visit. You can't get carried away just because you've had 2 good
100.
legs. You've still got 2 more legs to get. Now, I said something at the back end of the last leg, which
59.
is very true. You don't want to go to bed pointless. But you may not know, if you're tuning in from outside of the UK,
140.
that there is a game show here in the UK called Pointless. One of the questions
60.
that has been raised on that game show is players who have played in the PDC Premier League. And you may not know that Kevin Painter was a pointless
140.
answer. I know that because when I was at the same manufacturer's launch a few years ago, they had the audacity to say that Kevin Painter was pointless. And we didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Just one of those things that I will never forget. I think he saw the funny side of it.
96. Might you require 16?
Consequently, I don't think he was with that manufacturer for much longer after that. Double four. And Jackson finds the top right corner to halve that deficit down to 2 legs to 1. He is playing so much better in his second half of the night.
4th leg match to throw first. Game on.
I don't envy anybody with a beard when the weather's getting as hot as it has been the last couple of days here in England. First maximum of this match for Matt, as he takes his average above 100 for the first time. Tomorrow, or should I say today, is going to be the hottest day of the year.
140.
And these players are going to have to deal with that. But when you get to the finals on Saturday, the forecast is for things to be a little bit cooler.
60.
Some players like the heat. Some players don't. I subscribe
81.
to things being very tepid. But I know that Kevin likes the heat. Otherwise, he wouldn't go to Tenerife.
58. Might you require 100?
There very recently. Double top. 11 data from Matt Jackson. This thing has changed. All of a sudden, an 89 average for Painter, and the Jackson average has climbed to 103.
5th leg, Kevin to throw first. Game on.
I told you he wasn't safe with that 111 average after 2 legs. What you've done previously is no guarantee of success. That's
41.
why you should always remain focused. Just imagine how Matt will be feeling right now. He was 2-0 down, being blitzed.
136.
But he's responded brilliantly. In the same sort of way that his whole night has gone. He was 2-0 down in matches.
97.
He could walk away 2-2 like the result is right now. Let's not forget as well that this is Matt's debut week.
34.
He will not be used to playing at this time. Nobody is. It's very rarely
60.
that you have to play at 12:30 in the morning. It's pretty much the live league and the odd competition that goes a bit late.
84.
If you're starting to feel tired at this point and losing your concentration, you will be found out.
100.
Kevin has got to get himself under 100 here, I feel.
100.
Very nearly
Might
gets
recall
there.
144.
Now, what does he want to do with 104 with 1 dart left? Treble 18 is a good call.
47. Kevin Newcar 106.
Not really sure why he went to the 25. I can kind of see why he did it. Trying to get under 80. I always feel that it would be very interesting if Kevin Painter was mic'd up for
54.
games like this.
Might require 97.
Never been shy to say things out loud. He's going to stay downstairs for the double 19 and doesn't find it.
57. Kevin Newcar, 52.
It's been the scrappiest leg of the match. Ooh, what's that? What is that? 24 off leaves double 14. I'll tell you what that is.
Game shot on the 5th leg.
That's
Kevin
the
Painter.
5th leg won by Kevin Painter. I will say right now that he's probably never won a leg like that before on 2 doubles of that
6
sort
leg
of
match
ilk.
to throw first.
It doesn't matter whether you've been playing
Game
this game
on.
for about 3 minutes or 35 years, like Kevin Painter has. That still brings a smell to your face. And on a night where things have not gone his way, he's
97.
probably thinking, what else could possibly happen?
$95. $140.
He only gets credited for hitting one of those doubles, of course. And even though his doubling has been
$140.
supreme in this game, we're only going to credit him with 3 hits from 4, even though he's hit 4 from 5.
93.
Because he wasn't going for that double 12. That's why. Can he get to 86? Oh, that's a costly
123.
treble 1. It would have been his second maximum had he found that lipstick once again. This has
131.
turned into
Kevin
a very
Newcar,
good contest all of a
143.
sudden. To win the match. Double 16.
Game shot in the
Kaboom!
match.
Just like
Kevin
that.
Painter.
What a finish from Painter. That will definitely keep him in the running for later on Friday. He had to wait a long time for a haymaker just like that. But that's one of the toughest finishes on the dartboard. What a time to do it. 89.93 the average, but the checkouts were absolutely sublime. Matt Jackson played a great game, but with a 99.18, he lost by 4 legs to 2. We've only got one match to go, and it is Lee Cox. He's taking on Daryl Pilgrim in our final game. Follow that, gentlemen. We'll see you in 2 to 3 minutes. Last game of our evening and our morning, of course, because we are in the early hours local time. We've had 4 matches go with the darts in succession up to this point, and Lee Cox will be hoping that that continues in the second half of play, because if he gets it, he will finish on 6 points for today's action. Having said that, he's up against Daryl Pilgrim, who is on the same amount of points as him. Someone is going to join Matt Dennant on that total. And depending on the result, that person could well be at the top of the table. Pilgrim just needs to win to be top of the table. Cox needs to win by a little bit of a margin if he wants that very accolade. Best of 7 legs to finish up our Friday morning action.
First leg is Lee to throw first. Game on.
The last game on from Paul Hinks for this evening's play. And at this juncture, we have to remind you that we have the conclusion
45.
of Group C action coming a little bit later on this morning, in just a little bit over 8.5 hours time.
95.
You'll see the likes of 4-time Ladies World Champion Lisa Ashton, Ryan Finesse, Dave Pallett, who is currently top of the table in Group C on 8 points,
121.
Graham Hall, Conan Whitehead and Colin Osborne. Only 2 players from that 6-person group can qualify for the finals on Saturday
96.
to join Josh Payne. At this point, it's looking likely to be Ashton and Pallett, but a lot can change in the first 2 rounds of play come 9:30 in the morning
43.
live on Sporty Stuff TV and YouTube worldwide. We hope you can join us for that. But before we get there, we have to see who's going to win this one. First maximum belongs to Daryl Pilgrim. Are we getting another?
180.
You bet we are.
Daryl, you car 130.
Doesn't get the 60, which would have left him a shot at the bullseye.
58. Lee, you car 112.
Stay on that line. Under delivers the dart. And that is
67.
a somewhat unforgivable
72.
shot. Another single 16 will leave tops.
32. Lee, you
Chance
car
for Lee
45.
to hold his own throw. 2 16s.
13.
A somewhat
Daryl, you
timid
require
affair
40.
on one of his favoured doubles in the bottom left corner. Double 10.
Game
And
shot on the
double
first
5
leg. Daryl Pilgrim.
is found. So 18 darts is enough to break the throw of Lee Cox, and he will not be pleased about relinquishing his throw immediately.
Second leg, Daryl to throw first. Game on.
You can see he's not pleased in the background there. I think that's a bit of an understatement.
99.
It's one of the aggressive positions in the game of darts, actually. It doesn't matter what the format is. But if you haven't got the darts in the
85.
first leg of the contest, you have this license to be aggressive. Just go after it. And if it doesn't work, you're not expected to win the first leg anyway.
96.
But if you can get it, you have got the jump on your opponent and a great opportunity of doubling your lead.
140.
I was a big fan of winning the bullseye in the practice room before big stage matches and giving the start away. I always wanted to break in that first leg. I did it against some very
123.
established talents, including the best there's ever been, Phil Taylor. It was a tactic that served me well.
140.
It worked many, many times. Not all the time, I will say.
97.
Lovely switch
Leader
from
car
Darryl.
136.
It's 50 ahead, and with the more favourable out. Especially now that Cox can't take that 136.
46. Daryl car 86.
To double his lead. He's back at the bullseye.
61. Leader car 90.
Can Lee do what Matt Dennant did earlier? With 2 single 20s and a bullseye himself. Let's find out.
65.
He gets a little bit closer,
Daryl car 25.
but not close enough. Two hits.
Game
And
shot on the
leg
second
number
leg.
2
Daryl
is in the
Pilgrim.
books. Pilgrim seems to be winning all of the better battles in this match so far, and he reaches the halfway point the same way Painter
Third leg
did
leader
in the
throw
previous
first.
game.
Game on.
But now Lee Cox needs to do exactly what Matt Jackson did in that game by getting it level at 2-2.
100.
It just so happened that Painter had plenty in the tank to get a 4-2 victory, which could be key for his chances of qualifying tomorrow night.
60.
That 1-4-3 finish from Painter at the end of his night, that deserves a round of applause.
60.
Not that we have fans here at the Online Darts Live League. I do often wonder what it would be like if we did have fans.
44.
This is a very small room. The only way I can see fans in this room is if we had some sort of cubicle where somebody could sit and watch.
140.
But I don't think that's part of our plans. Lovely switching
134.
once again. That 57 bet has been very kind to Daryl.
$90.
That bullseye is kind this time to Lee. If only he'd hit that with his last start of the previous leg. Got to move back upstairs now. Single 20 leaves 167.
96. Leader car 111.
First part negotiated. Second part pretty good.
79.
But yet again,
Daryl car
double 16 is missed by
167.
some distance. Treble 19 is missed this time,
139. Leader car 32.
says Lee Cox. Misses on the other side this time.
16.
Has missed all three
Daryl car
Pilgrim
28.
to triple the amount of legs he's won in this match without response. Sevens
14.
has pushed
Leader
the wire
car
on 3
16.
occasions there. Outside of the 14s, inside of the 14s, outside of the 7s.
Game shot on
Lee
the third
Cox
leg.
does
Lee Cox.
amble across the line in that third leg. I think he's just apologising to Daryl Pilgrim because he should have got rid of it a long time
Fourth leg.
before that.
Daryl to throw first. Game on. $118.
As a dart player, you can't really defend. It's something that isn't part of this sport.
81.
But what you can do is utilise the frustration from the previous leg to your advantage in winning the next one. I was always pretty good at that.
96.
If I was a bit miffed that I'd lost a leg that I should have won. I was always pretty good at responding in
100.
the next leg by getting out of the blocks and taking my frustration out on that treble 20 bed.
81.
There is a bit of a hush over this final match now as Daryl in the background is doing a Paul Lim.
78.
Bit of a ghost dart. He's trying to mimic the technique that he wants when he's at the hockey. 7'9¼ inches away from the board.
100.
That's pretty decent. 106 away from a 3-1 advantage.
40.
Well, going on that
Newcar,
line was always going to be
106.
treacherous. 2 darts in the way, and a dart on the floor via the deflection was always possible. And because
74.
that dart went on the floor, it means that Lee is outside of finishing range. It's a
125.
lovely
Darryl
approach,
Pilgrim, 32.
but it should be in vain.
Game shot
And
on
it
the
is
fourth
in
leg.
vain.
Daryl Pilgrim.
That is pretty much where Daryl Pilgrim lives. That 16 dart range, around about a 93.5 average. That's what he does most of the
Fifth
time.
leg leader throw first. Game on.
So far tonight, averages of 98.5, 93 and a bit, and 92 mean that his night's work and his
44.
running average have been very impressive. Just more signs that in 2022 he is playing a great brand of this game. And he's not done yet.
125.
I haven't even mentioned the fact that he's the scourge of the Pro Tour averages sheet.
140.
He's a bit of a running joke, really, because he's only played one Pro Tour match this season. He averaged 99 and lost, which in a strange twist has put him top of the averages.
29.
He has got a bit of company in that department because Nathan Gervin's done something very similar. The winner of one of the weeks in Phase 3.
97.
And there's someone who's playing very well at the minute, Nathan Gervin. Watch out for him over the next couple of years. Great young player from Scotland.
41.
Oh, he's let that one slip. Maybe one more opportunity for Daryl to get back in this fifth leg. Got to go north.
99.
Not bad. He's not far behind now. Only 28 points. That's roughly half a dart. Doesn't get any better than that.
139.
That is a perfect visit from Lee.
$59.
He does have
Leo
ambitions
40.
of getting 6 points for the night. He needs 3 straight legs.
Game shot on
Make
the fifth
that
leg.
2.
Leacox.
He has got the first one of the 3 he requires. He's still got an air of frustration in his walk back to the back of the room.
Sixth
What
leg
can he
Daryl to
do
throw first.
in this
Game on.
possibly penultimate leg of the match? Let's have a look at the performances of Lee
100.
tonight. He started in match number 3 against Matt Jackson with a very tidy 4-1 win. 85.61 average. That's fine. Doubles were good.
85.
67%. He then got a scrappy win against Kevin Painter. Again, it's an 86 average. But then against Matt Dennant,
140.
he was put to the sword. He fell off his consistent 86 averages, and Matt Dennant was up towards the mid-90s. This
96.
has been a typical Lee Cox performance. Mid-80s, decent doubling, or decent enough. But in order to beat Daryl Pilgrim in this match, he's going to need to find a spurt
131.
of biblical proportions from this position.
100. Daryl 130.
6 darts from here. He could possibly finish it in 3. He doesn't have to.
84.
He doesn't want to. He should have been sitting on double 16 to finish his morning, but he'll still be going for that single 14.
60. Daryl 46.
No panic. And it is double 16. And it is a win by
Pilgrim.
4 legs to 2. So we have 6 points for Pilgrim. We have 6 points for Dennant. And it's going to be 4 points for Lee Cox. So he gets 50% of the points that were on offer for him tonight. If he's going to qualify a little bit later on, you feel he may have to find a slightly higher level. Let's have a look at the table then. Pilgrim's at the top with a very good leg difference. Lee Cox is in a qualifying position because remember, 3 players will qualify from this group of 5 players. But everybody is still in with a chance. So join us again for Group C action in about 8.5 hours time. We'll see the conclusion of that group, Group B, from 10 o'clock tonight. Plenty of action for you on Sporty Stuff TV come Friday. So get yourself a good night's sleep and join us again in about 8.5 hours for more Online Darts Live League. I've been Paul the Asset Nicholson for Friday. See you guys later. Take care.